All right, up next, your friends, my friends, here they are, Jon and Laurie Porter at Smog City. All right, have at it. I'll see you guys in about Bente.
Hey,
Don't
hello
mind,
everyone.
Is
don't
it the
mind me.
Smog City twins? Who's there? These boxes are so small. Hold on. Jeez. You guys made it.
Yeah, of course. We wouldn't miss happy hour.
Wait, you're right. We're done. We're at happy hour now. We're done.
Awesome. How was the conference?
I thought it was great. I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, there's not enough time. Last year, everybody got an hour. This year, everybody got like 15, 30 minutes at the most. So you guys get 20. You're in between. Can you handle it?
Oh my God. Awesome. That's cool. I wanted to find out I need to get that recipe with the sand and sawdust because we might want to try and put that in beer.
No. He left something out. 3% yoga mat.
Oh, I don't know.
3% yoga mat. I'll send you the recipe after this.
It's going to be a little phenolic for me, but we'll try it. We'll try anything.
Yeah. Well, after a day of learning, you guys deserve a beer. So if you have any beer near you, you should grab it now and crack it with us. And we're going to kind of walk you through a quick story about Smog City and then also just talk about our beers and how we tie into the food industry, the inspirations that my husband here, who's the brewer, we haven't introduced ourselves. I just realized.
We were introduced by Justin very quickly, but yeah. So she's like,
let's do that a little better. Sorry, let's start over.
So I'm Jonathan. This is Laurie Porter. We are the owners, co-founders of Smog City Brewing Company. I sort of run the production side and
recipe development.
Yeah. Sorry.
Problem solver.
Like, how deep do I go with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. The fixer of all things. But yeah, I do make a lot of the creative decisions at Smog City. And especially, recipe development is really my forte. Working with all of our raw materials, whether they come from a giant barley farm in Canada or whether I am sourcing blood oranges from my local farmers market vendor. I spend a lot of time working with raw materials. I know that's really important, especially in the world of pizza and baking. And I feel very akin to bakers. Way back when they used to share the same building because we have so much in common. So I feel like it's appropriate that we're here, right?
Yep, absolutely. And I'm Laurie Porter. I'm more of the business side, brand development, tap room, customer experience, and beer namer, label designer, inspirational, whatever. So I do all the other stuff. We actually are really complementary in terms of how we run our business. There's not a ton of overlaps in what we do really, really well. But we support each other and love growing this company together. It's the most satisfying thing I've ever done. So Smog City is 10 years old this year. We're just coming up in May. It's a huge accomplishment for us, especially after the last year, which is real challenging, but we felt like it was, coming through 2020 was really a testament to what we built. The brand was strong, the beers are fantastic, and we have a great team. So I'd like to know if you could put in the chat if you have had our beer. We'd like to know if you've had our beer, if you have a favorite one of ours. It kind of helps us to know where you're at and if you know who we are. So thank you, Dennis, by the way. Best beer in LA, favorite beer in LA.
Yeah, awesome. So one of the beers that we're drinking is actually, got LA in the title because we are from LA. And From LA with Love is a newish beer to our year-round lineup. It is a classic Belgian wit beer. For those of you who don't know, it would be akin to something like Hoegaarden, which is a Belgian owned by AB InBev, but still, the style is basically a wheat beer, but it's spiced, and you use a special yeast strain that really provides a lot of character. We call this a yeast-driven beer, but it also includes a lot of spice additions, including coriander and 2 different types of orange peel. This beer really is sort of like a passion project for me to get something like this made. It's a challenging style to make, but it's so satisfying because It is really versatile with food. It's low in ABV. It's only 4.4%. And it's still really complex and interesting to drink, right? So finding something that like everybody could enjoy, that's also very complex and interesting and challenging to make, sort of ticks all the boxes for me. And this came out last fall, I believe, or no, the previous fall.
Yeah,
Anyway.
we were in recipe development in the end of 2019, and then released it sometime around May or June of 2020 for the first time in cans. So
Perfect timing.
Yeah, we had good timing. We had never released any beers of ours in cans before COVID, and got our canning line dropped in March, and had our first beers out by the end of March, and then have not turned back since. And it's been really fun. This beer specifically is more of what we call like our lifestyle brand or adventuring brand. This is a beer that you want to take with you when you're going on a picnic or camping or to the beach. It's light, it's fruity, I mean, not fruity, but bright and citrusy and approachable. And then if any of you guys are art fans, its label is inspired by David Hockney, which I really love. And then we made two more beers in that lineup, one of which we'll be tasting in a couple minutes. That
we're gonna get through all these beers. We only have 20 minutes. We have to drink 4 beers, Noel.
Gotta work fast.
Well,
Noel says we have to drink all 4 beers in 20 minutes. So,
we can sip them.
The next one.
That's it. I'm not drinking from LA with Love because this beer is brown and that beer is white. I'm actually drinking one of our flagship beers, Sabertooth Squirrel, that we've been making since forever. I don't know how long, 10 years, maybe longer, maybe, so this little guy, we call it a Hoppy Amber Ale. This is also extremely food friendly, pairs well with anything that rhymes with barbecue. Not a lot of words, but it definitely pairs with them.
What's a word that rhymes with barbecue? Made for you?
Snarbecue? I don't know. But it's
put it in the chat.
That's it. Do it. But it's so this is like sort of our like in between malt and hops beer, right? So if you like malty beer, you're gonna like it. You like hoppy beer. It's not an IPA, but it definitely checks the boxes for hops, right? So we're looking for citrusy and piney and fruity hop character, but we also want that like nutty, toasty caramel malt character that you get in those like richer, darker amber colored beers. And yeah, I mean, it just works. It's such an incredible beer to pair things with because you can compare, you can contrast. My favorite sort of beer pairings are the ones where it changes your perception of the food that you're eating, or it changes your perception of the beer that you're drinking.
For the better.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Always for the better.
Right. I feel like that was implied, right?
You have to say it.
True. It doesn't always work. But I think the same thing goes when you're cooking in a kitchen, right? The things that surprise you tend to be probably the worst selling item on the menu, but still you make them because you love them, and it's the creativity is necessary. So
yeah. And with the beers that you make, you work a lot with local farmers markets, with a lot of what we call, when we talk about recipe development, we talk about intention, making beers with intention. They have a goal, we have an opinion about them. And Porter has spent, how long have you been in the industry now?
16 years.
16 years.
Too long.
Really honing that. We come from an art background. We believe in creating beer that has a story to it, has something that our drinkers can really sink their teeth into. I don't want it to just be a blank canvas. There's a lot of breweries that make a beer for everyone. And that's not really the ethos of craft beer. Craft beer is personality, it's quality, it's creativity, and it's having that opinion, that intention. So, he's done a great job working with local farmers and making some really interesting beers.
Yeah, I think you get something different from every brewery, just like you get something different from every pizzeria. Even when there's a lot of overlap in style or similarity, you're always going to find something different and interesting. I think that's what makes life interesting, that those small differences that you can seek out and explore. And it's just, I don't know. It's interesting, and I keep using that word, so I should stop doing that. But a lot of our we have a what we call sour beer program where almost everything is aged in barrels, and that's where we drive like the really creative stuff. And I don't have any of that to share today or to talk about today, but those kinds of beers are very hands-on, very like
labor intensive,
not automated, labor intensive. Like the week before last, we juiced 120 pounds and zested 120 pounds of blood oranges by hand. That may not sound like a lot, but it took 3 people like 4 hours to do it because we don't want any of the pith. We just want, So those beers have a lot of like care and attention, and that was born, or sort of not born from, but like that approach to making beer as craft beer. It really infuses into our brand, into all of our products. Whether we're making 5 gallons, 100 gallons, or 10,000 gallons, the same care and sort of approach to intention and doing something a little bit different is sort of infused into all of that.
So I'm not done with this, so I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm gonna drink my next beer from the can because I can.
Ooh,
but
rogue.
If you guys have any questions for us, we only have technically 9 more minutes until you guys get crazy with the CBD cannabis guy. So put them in the chat. We'd love to answer those questions, and then we'll keep talking. I mean, we can fill up 20 minutes with our eyes closed. So the next one is Hoppy Pilsner, which is the second in our sort of David Hockney mid-century modern inspired lifestyle series. It's kind of fun. If you look at these, you'll see these little orange butterfly chairs, and they move through, and you're, just kind of tie it together.
I don't think I ever noticed those. I mean, I saw them, but I didn't know they were on all of them.
And so these beers they deviate from the original design. This is very hand-drawn, illustrated, quirky and fun. This is a little more modern. This is sort of going into the more can-centric customer who is label shopping, looking for something pretty and tasty looking, not necessarily knowing what they're buying. So we really hope that our customers learn to trust our brand. They learn to recognize Smog City and know that they may not know this beer. Maybe you haven't had Hoppy Pilsner, but you've had Saber-Tooth Squirrel or Coffee Porter or LA with Love. And that means that you're more likely to take a chance on us. But this is sort of more of an approachable, modern label design, which we really enjoy and love.
You can keep talking about that one. I have another can. I can just open it.
And it says, any trends you folks are seeing showing up in 2020, the beers or styles that are selling faster? Well, yes. I mean, IPA is always going to be the king, and I don't think it's ever going to be dethroned. We have seen an uptick for our own brewery in lagers and Belgian style, like approachable beers. We have a Dear Abbey, which is an Abbey double.
Belgian blonde.
A Belgian
an
blonde.
Abbey blonde.
Abbey blonde.
Whatever. It's not a real style. It doesn't matter.
Which has become this incredible gateway for for new craft beer drinkers. We have a new tap room out in Glendora where the customers are not as sophisticated as the ones that come to our tap room. They're still getting into it. They're still learning. They're curious.
We're working on them. We're definitely educating them.
Yeah. And so we made them this beer, this Abbey, that is, it doesn't have any hops. It's really approachable. It's got a nice malt backbone. And it's selling like crazy. So I think that I think craft beer drinkers have kind of locked in and they know what they want. But now there's all this potential outside of that to bring people into our fold, to introduce them to new beers, approachable beers. We've been doing that for the last 6 years through our tap rooms in Long Beach and now in Glendora, really educating people and teaching them about craft beer without scaring them off. Because sometimes I've heard that it can be intimidating to come to a tap room, that customers feel like they can't say the names right, or they don't know how to handle a taster flight or whatever.
Or they don't know what they're getting. And it's just like boogaloo. And you're like, what kind of beer is that? I don't even know.
Why is it purple?
Well, one thing we're seeing is people sort of returning to trusted beers or brands or sources. There is such a proliferation of new beers all the time. I mean, arguably it's brewers' fault, but it's also the consumer's fault. They want new all the time. And so the trend is to just keep making new all the time. And we're certainly guilty of that. But our track record has shown that we are capable of delivering new and executing dozens of types of styles of beers properly. And that's one thing that we sort of lean on, is that we're a trusted brand, that maybe you've never had a Hoppy Pilsner by Smog City, but hey, it's a Smog City beer, so I'll try it. It's probably going to be good. That's what we want people to trust. So, we certainly want people to go back to basics, because we love all of those styles too. But also trusting brands that are consistently making high quality beer is important for the health of our industry.
Yeah.
So that trend is really exciting.
I think that's actually, if I were to go back and start this answer over, I'd probably say that. I would say in 2020, customers turned to brands they knew. The newer businesses, the younger breweries that were under 3 or 4 years old, were struggling much more than the ones that had established brands, because 2020 was a very unique year for customers and consumers. They went into a grocery store, they bought what they knew, and they got out. They did not want to loiter. They were not shelf hunting. They weren't, hanging out with their buddy, tasting new beers. They were drinking the beers they knew.
Right.
So we'll see how that changes in 2021, now that people are going back out into the world. I think that our priorities have changed to some degree over the last year, and we'll probably see more of that loyalty, more of that consistency, more simplicity. I think for me especially, I really enjoyed the simplicity of 2020. Although my business was chaotic, I was able to sort of take out a lot of noise, because I was forced to slow down. I couldn't travel as much. I couldn't go out as much. I couldn't do events. So we'll see how it changes in 2021. I mean, I think, who knows? Any other questions?
The trend continues.
Are you drinking coffee porter yet?
No, I'm drinking Hoppy Pilsner.
I
I poured you some. Did you want some?
did.
You
I
want
saw
any?
it. I want coffee porter. Coffee porter is my most favorite beer of all time, ever.
Somebody says, I dig the coffee porter.
It's my desert island beer.
We just happen to have.
I adore it. If you have not had this,
Hold on, here's proof. Every can says Laurie loves porter. It's Porter's is my nickname. That's what everybody calls me, but she truly does love coffee porter.
I love both of them. We work with, if you're in Los Angeles, we work with Groundwork Coffee up in Studio City area. Studio City? North Hollywood.
North Hollywood.
And it's kind of a fun story. We used to live in Venice, and we went to their coffee shop on Rose all the time, and we bought their Venice blend. And Porter was making the coffee. It was working on making this coffee beer at a brew pub where we were building Smog City out of, and we kept going through all these different coffee shops. And it was at like the rise of intelligentsia, and everybody was all like fancy coffee, and you had to have the drip. And so we tried a bunch of interesting coffee combinations. They just never worked. And we were standing in our kitchens drinking our coffee from Groundwork and said, where are we going to find the right coffee?
It's one of those things that's there right in front of you.
And we've literally been using the same exact coffee from the same people with the same blend since the very beginning. And we've had a lot of coffee companies try and poach us away, but we really believe in this coffee. It's got the roast, the chocolate. It's kind of an old school coffee roaster, right? It's not like the new fancy one, but tried and true.
25 years, based in Los Angeles. Everything is fair trade and organic. We just love that story. And so, this beer was created to really, the process of roasting coffee is very similar to what you do to roast and make specialty malts to make dark beers. So what we try to do is match the roast profile of the coffee with the beer. And so the choice of specialty malts are basically just to enhance everything that's already in the coffee. So it's nutty, it's toasty, it's toffee, it's chocolate, very heavy on the chocolate. And then that little bit of roast give you that sort of all around coffee character.
All right, they're gonna make us wrap up in a minute.
We're
we
wrapping.
have-
I'm gonna make you wrap up right
can see
about
it.
now. This
So I
is
wanted to
it.
tell you guys, if you are interested in our beer, we are actually shipping it in California. So you can go on our website at smogcitybrewing.com. We'll ship it to your door. You can come to any of our 4 tap rooms. We have all that information on the website. So come visit us and follow us on Instagram. We put all of our interesting new releases on there and
What's
stories.
Instagram?
Website
Yeah.
and Instagram are in
Yep.
the chat for everybody. Website
Yeah,
and
so-
Instagram
Awesome.
are
We
in
appreciate
the
you
chat.
guys and thanks for your support out there in the market and drinking our beer. We hope to see you in our tap rooms.
Awesome.
Let's cheers to 420.
There we go.
420.
Oh, it's
There-
420.
There we go. There we go. And with that, I think it's time to bring on Noel. Are you excited for this? We'll bring on
Couldn't be more
Jeff,
excited.
the 420.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. We'll see you soon.